Hello there everyone. Welcome back to another New World video here. And today I just want to go over a build. And I did a video in the past on this build that I'm doing, but I wanted to make a updated version now that I, got a lot of experience with the game and absolutely loving the game. Hit 39 today and got these trade skills going pretty hard and making that cash. Ding ding ding. What are we at? 9.4k, killing it. And on top of that, I'm working like almost full-time hours, so we're killing it. Sleep, not so much, but that's all right. We don't need sleep. But no, for real, just wanted to go over my weapon build here, and I've been using the hatchet and the musket. Right now, just rocking these two guys. Nothing special, but gets the job done. And I used this build in the beta, and now I've been using it in the actual full release, and man, it's just been tons of fun. And I just wanted to share it with you guys. Maybe you'll want to try it out, switch it up, that sort of thing. And yeah, let's get into it. So for the abilities here, I am fully spec'd into the Berserk tree, and Berserk is your bread and butter here. I'm sure you've all heard of it at some point. And all these passives are just make it so good. You got a CC immune for about 10 seconds. I think it's 10 to 12 seconds, something in there, which is insane. I dueled one of my friends last night, and it was the funniest thing because he hit me with his great axe. I think it was the pole. And he was like, "Oh my god, how didn't that pull you?" And I was like, "I was in berserk mode." And he's like, "What does that mean?" And I'm like, "I was CC immune." And then I said 10 seconds, and he's like, "Oh my god, that's insane." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And they did tone down the, I think, healing on it, so they nerfed the healing. However, it's still really good. It heals you about 30%. Let's see here. It's one of these here. Probably should have prepped this before, huh? Yeah, every 4 seconds you gain 30% of your max health back. So that is honestly great sustain there for just, not like a tank build or anything like that, which we might talk about later on, potential tank builds with this. But this is just great sustain, especially if you're solo and you don't have a healer. And like if you have your food buffs up and I'm running common potions at level 39, which are pretty good, and you can solo like 2-3 levels above you then, with this ability on top of that. So this is just great sustain, great healing, CC immune, no brainer, right? Second one to go into here is Feral Rush. This is a great engagement ability. Let's go in game here. So if I pop Berserk, that'll give you the Berserk buff in the bottom there, which was 12 seconds. And then you hop into Feral Rush. It's pretty far. And it's a single hit and then another hit. They both do a lot of damage. And then, so yeah, this is great engagement ability. And then on top of that, if you spec into Crippling Strikes, this gives you possible CC, which the Hatchet doesn't really have any CC. Because it's mostly just a burst weapon. But the Crippling Strikes, if you hit your target in the back, it will immobilize them for 2 seconds, which is huge. If you can basically jump on someone in like a war or something like that, when they might be focused on someone else, or you're in open world PvP and you get the jump on someone, that is huge. Yeah, great engagement ability. So moving on, Raging Torrent here is a burst of 4 attacks, each dealing 90% weapon damage because it's so damn fast. And you can get some really good perks on this, specifically the stamina regen. So if you're using blocking a lot and dodging, you can use Raging Torrent and each hit will regen a certain percent of your stamina, which is a super cool perk. I'm sure there's some really other good ones, but that was the main one that I was looking for. And this is really just a bursting ability. It's pretty insane. And then this as well is really good. So you can add this and it will do an extra attack at the end of your thing. So let's test it out here. 2, 3, 4, and then click it again and see how that does like a downward strike. So this was just like your normal hit, and that last strike was the actual like crit hit, essentially, bursting your damage. So that's it for the hatchet. If we move on to the musket here, and I mean, I don't know if I explained it really well in the beginning, but essentially this is what you want to do. You hit your powder burn, you hit your stance, and I mean, imagine this is like a level like 45, right? And I'm like level 39. If I hit like 3-4 headshots before that thing even gets to me, it's probably already less than half health. And then you just hop in to your berserk, your feral rush, and then raging torrent, and that is pretty much guaranteed death. So it's I wouldn't say it's OP, but like for a solo, this is a great build. And I mean, you don't even have to be solo. It's really just a really heavy damage dealing build. It's fantastic. And some people argue that, you know, the rapier or the spear would be a better option because of being a full dex, rather than the hatchet having a main attribute of strength. And it's a little, you know, confusing to whether you should go into strength or not. And I still really haven't figured out fully what I want to commit to, but I've kind of been doing like a 2-to-1 ratio, give or take. But as you can see here, I mostly been 2-to-1 with Constitution, but not actually. If you even just look at the bars, you can tell it's not actually 2-to-1. But it's roughly that. And then most of my strength is coming from item buffs. And yeah, since the hatchet is a primary strength item, you're definitely going to lack damage on it compared to your musket, which is a primary dexterity item. And that's just kind of a sacrifice that you're going to have to make if you do go this build. However, I think it's worth it just due to the amazing abilities that the hatchet has. And really, it just comes down to fun, too. Like, play what you want to play. And I give this a try, and if you really like it, just stick with it. I mean, I haven't had any problems. I can, like, easily fight, you know, people or mobs 3 levels above me, and this is a great PvP build, too. I haven't done a ton of PvP. I've just been grinding super hard for levels. I'm going to focus on PvP later. But yeah, I mean, the engagement on this build is just absolutely incredible. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to share my attributes here. And I wanted to mainly get the 50 strength for that 10%, or I guess it's 5% melee. I think it used to be 10%, maybe I'm crazy. But that extra 5% to light attacks adds up, and then dexterity, I'm at about 140. I'm trying to hit that 150 mark. And I'm actually doing a heavy build for armor. So I've been speccing into Constitution a little bit. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm running solo a lot without a healer. And I felt that light armor and medium armor just weren't doing it for me. And I'm just trying to, okay. I'm just trying to, get to those newer zones as fast as possible. So yeah, it's been a ton of fun. Super cool build. And let's get into the musket here and show you guys exactly what I was talking about earlier, or showing earlier. So if we go into powder burn here and go into shooter stance, there's just so much damage. Obviously against this cougar, that's like a quarter of me. But like, if we go in here, we've got powder burn, and then we've got the two additional passives here that absolutely do so much dot damage over time. And this is, once you hit a headshot with the powder burn, it's gonna, each additional shot is gonna be 12% more damage because that target's on fire. And then on top of that, the headshot extends the duration to 13 seconds. So it goes from 9 to 13. So you get that extra 4 seconds to, you know, get that that extra damage, which is pretty insane. And while that target is on fire, you want to pop into shooting stance so that you can do burst damage. So this build is all about burst damage, if you couldn't tell. Really, you've got an insane attack speed on the musket here in shooter stance. The only really downside of this is if you're in a group fight, shooting stance is going to be really difficult to use. So this is a really good 1v1 build and like that sort of thing, like for PVE as well. You can't really group up mobs with this build, but it's mainly for, you know, getting to those higher end zones faster so that you can get better gear and that sort of thing. Or just even keep up with your friends, because that's what I've been having to do, because all my friends are either working from home or, you know, just playing and taking off and that sort of thing. So they're out leveling me and that sort of thing, but I can at least play with them because of, you know, this build. That's super cool. So that's about it on the abilities there. And I did go over the attributes. And, you know, this is really just personal preference here, how much strength and constitution you want to go into. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. If you want to, you can go like full dexterity and a little bit of constitution. But, yeah, like I said, you know, you can play around with it, respec, kind of. Well, what you should do is actually go into a builder on the several websites that, you know, exist out there for builds, and yeah, you can just find one on there, play around with the different stats, and see what ends up, you know, the best for you. But the last thing I want to talk about quick is a build that I'm going to be doing probably later on for excuse me, some kind of like tank build, and it's going to be a hatchet and an ice gauntlet. Now, you're sacrificing a lot of damage on the hatchet because obviously you're going to have to go to intellect for the damage. However, this build is absolutely insane. I forgot to mention this for some reason, but Defy Death is an incredible last perk to have, or ability. I don't really know what to call it, but it is basically an ultimate for the end of the perk tree. And you avoid death for 3 seconds, so that's pretty crazy. And then if we go to Ice Gauntlet, you can turn into an ice. Actually, it's an ability, I think. Yeah, so Entombed. So the player can entomb themselves in ice and be invulnerable for 10 seconds. And if you really want to, you can exit that and break it and knock players down, which is pretty cool. And I will do like the Ice Storm as well. And there's an Ice Storm perk. I think what I'm going to do is Lifesteal and Intellect. That's basically what I'm going here. And Sustain. So I'm going to have Ice Storm, Entombed, and maybe Ice Pylon. I'm not sure yet. I actually haven't looked at this too much, but I saw a build of it a while ago and it looked super, super cool and like super OP, and I'm all about it. It just seems really cool. And when the new weapons come out, it might throw me for a loop, because you can see all these slots here, right? There's one here, two here, one there. And, you know, they have a small list of things that are potentially coming, and we'll see in the future. But I think a Hatchet and Ice Gauntlet build is going to be pretty awesome. And for those wondering how that works with damage, the Hatchet can use a either a perk or a gem where you can convert like 50% of your damage to intellect damage. So essentially like an elemental damage. So you're basically a, you know, a magical melee damage dealer. And I mean, throwing down an ice storm and being entombed, and defying death, those three alone are going to keep you alive for a long time. So, and especially if you're going high into Constitution, so it'll probably be like a half and half on intellect and Constitution. Probably a little bit more Constitution. It'll probably be like a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 Constitution to 1 Dexterity kind of thing. But that's just kind of speculation right now. I just wanted to throw it out there that I'll probably be doing a video on it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hit subscribe. I'll be streaming on Twitch today and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and yeah, just be hanging out with my boys and having fun grinding New World. Hope you come check it out. Thanks.